All right, you guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited for you all to be here with me today. Really excited about the young lady that's joining me today. I got connected with her. It's been a few months now. But I really got connected with her. Oh, I actually remember. I forgot for a second. I got connected with her at this event in Sacramento that Dominique had put on, a Hey Sis event. Got connected with her. Loved this shirt that she had on, right? It was like this entrepreneur shirt. I'm like, oh my God, I need it. And so come to find out, we were actually already friends on Facebook. Reached out, purchased her shirt, and I was like, yo, I would love to have you on my podcast. Right. And so, we were chopping it up, and y'all, she has tons of value to give. I'm super excited to have her on today. So Dominica, are you there?
I am here.
Woohoo! Hey girl.
I'm here.
How's it going?
It's going amazing.
I
Thank you.
love it. It's 2021, sis. I'm so excited.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited about the new year. I really had an amazing 2020. I know it was a rough for a lot of people, but for me, it was probably one of the best years of my life. So I'm just continuing with that same energy for 2021. So I'm super hyped.
Really, I love it. And I love the perspective because, I talk to people all the time, and, I say the same thing. 2020 was not terrible for all of us. And really, it's like, you got to come in on, what kind of perspective are you looking at it,
right.
On top of everything, we survived
right.
2020. So that in itself is a blessing right there. So the fact that we're even in 2021, by God's grace, amen to that. And so go ahead, do a quick intro about who you are.
Okay, cool. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. I am Dominca Robinson. I am the owner of D-Signs, which is a mobile notary loan signing agency. I'm also a vlogger, YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel called My Weekly Rants where I share like travel, lifestyle, and of course, most popular is everybody wants to know how I've gained so much success in my notary business. So I'm always posting videos there as well. I'm a mom, a wife, a sister, just a myriad of things. But overall, I am a lover of sharing information. I love to share information that is of value to myself, that I feel that will be value to other people. So that's a little bit about me.
I love it. Just to start off, I'm so glad that you touched on the sharing piece, because we kind of live in a day and age where nobody wants to share anything. And especially not knowledge. Like, people just get so catty with it, so competitive with, sharing knowledge. And I just appreciate somebody who's like, look, I can share this with you. Like, they don't feel no type of way. So I think that's a really, really good trait to have. Now educate me. What exactly is notary? Help me out, because I don't really know. I've seen it. But I really don't know what it is. Is it like when I'm like, okay, I need to get this notarized? Is that what that is? Like,
yeah. So let me break it down for you. And that's why I love talking about it so much, because so many people don't know exactly what a notary public is, what we do. So I'm hyped to share everything about the notary business. Absolutely. Because I feel like it's like an untapped opportunity, really. So a notary public, our primary function is to identify a person, to make sure a person is who they say they are. We're commissioned by the state that we live in. Typically, I'm here in California, so I'm commissioned by the state of California. And again, our primary function is to serve the state in the counties that we reside in, to make sure that a person is who they say they are, to cut down on fraud in various transactions. I specialize in mortgage loan transactions. So that's my specialty. But again, I could do any type of general notary work. Sometimes someone needs a power of attorney notarized, or a certification for a birth certificate, or anything along that line. But my specialty is 99% of my clients are mortgage companies, loan officers, real estate agents, title companies. I am a real estate professional. So that is my specialty. Every time somebody buys a home, sells a home, refinances a home, whatever the case may be, there has to be a notary involved in that transaction. We have to be there at the transaction to make sure the person who are signing these loan documents are who they say they are. There's a ton of mortgage fraud that goes on. So our primary function is to be at that closing table to make sure that, hey, this is Dominica's house. She's signing these papers. I'm verifying her identification, whether that's a driver's license, passport, what have you. The state has a list of acceptable identifications that we can accept, that have to be valid. They can't be expired, things along that line. So to answer your question, the notary's primary function is to ID someone. We are not responsible for what actually is in the document itself, the validity of the document, anything along that line. We're just there to identify the person and make sure they are who they say they are. That's our main function.
Okay.
And then when you add on your specialties like myself, in the mortgage world, you then also need to know a little bit about the mortgage and loan documents as well. Or, there's other specialties. There are notaries who specialize in immigration. There's a specialty on that end, or legal documents. There's a specialty on that end. So there's things you could take with your notary commission and specialize it to really, make a big business, basically.
I love this. And, we talked about what I've done. I'm an investor. I'm definitely an advocate for multiple streams of income. And just this past week past couple of weeks, I've been, in Clubhouse moderating these rooms, and I've actually have connected with a few individuals who are in the notary field as well. And they said the same thing as you, that it's an untapped market for us to profit from. And so break it down for me. Like, how easy is it for somebody to tap into this field? Like, I'm trying to see if I need to get tapped in. Like,
right.
Let me know.
So it's not hard at all. And I've been, like I said, I love to share information. So I've been talking about this to anybody who wants to listen, especially our young people, because it doesn't require a 4-year degree. You just have to be 18. There's no like education requirement. But you do have to, depending on the state that you live in, you need to check your state's requirements because each state is different. Here in California, you are required to take a 6-hour class, which is nothing. We spend more than 6 hours a day on Instagram, so let's keep it real. So you take a 6-hour course, and once that course is completed, you do have to take an exam. The exam is not, I don't want to say it's hard, but you need to study. One thing that I've noticed by connecting with different people in this business, I've tried to, encourage some people to become notaries and they have a hard time passing the exam or things along that line. And I feel, just from my own perspective, that maybe they may just not be spending enough time in the coursework. You are going to need to study. You are going to need to, the exam is multiple choice. It is a standardized exam, but it's one of those exams where, I don't know, you might have 3 or 4 choices and they all seem like they could be the right answer, so you really need to study the coursework and know the laws. Basically, it's giving you notarial law. The coursework is comprised of California notarial law or whatever state you're in. Some states don't require this test or exam. I just want to say that. But in California, you are required to take a 6-hour course and take the exam. Your notary commission lasts for 4 years. Every 4 years, you have to renew your commission. Upon renewal, you have to take a 3-hour course to renew, and then an exam again. Okay. I mentioned a little bit earlier that my specialty is notary loan signing. So with the loan portion of it, you do need to take another certification. I highly recommend that you take the loan signing system. I think it's the best course out there, not just because it teaches you about the loan signing portion, but it really teaches you and mentors you on how to build a business, which I think is a big component that a lot of us are missing. So yeah, you can become a notary. Yeah, you can do loan signings, but do you know how to run a business? Do you know how to build the business? Do you know how to market? Do you know how to, grow your business? These are things that also a lot of us are lacking. So that's the only kind of course I recommend for loan signing. And then again, there are other things you could do with your notary commission. It doesn't have to be in the mortgage world. That's just where I am.
Okay. I love that. And so all they got to do is be 18, take a few tests. Now, let me know, like, are you a full-time entrepreneur? Like, do you do this full-time or do you work a job as well?
I work a job as well. And that's probably a whole nother podcast, because I've seen a lot of conversations and I want to get in on those conversations, a baby conversation I can have myself, but I'm seeing a lot of these conversations about full-time employees and full-time entrepreneurs, and
Yeah.
I'm one of them, and it's I don't want to say it's a struggle, but it's something, I struggle with a lot of things. I struggle with, like, do I want to quit my job? I struggle with a lot of different things. I struggle with the juggle of it. I struggle with time management. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, I do both. I do both.
It's funny that you bring that up because literally, I was on Clubhouse and we hosted a 3-hour room talking about, full-time employee, part-time entrepreneur, and just the struggles that come with that, people feeling embarrassed to even still be working a job while pursuing entrepreneurship. And we really broke down like a lot of things when it comes to that. And so obviously definitely possible, but I think you really have to tap in with your time management. Like the time management, like your time management got to be like A1. Like
yeah. It takes I think you just have to be dedicated. One of the things I'm learning about time management is being not dedicated. I use the wrong word, disciplined.
Yes.
If I have a block of time that I dedicated towards this one thing, I have to be disciplined to focus on this one thing and not venture off and start looking at Instagram and all this other stuff. So I think it's possible. You just have to be very disciplined. And I'm going to bring up another point that you just mentioned that I heard, and it kind of threw me off. I don't really understand the whole embarrassment. Like, I don't understand why people are embarrassed about.
Let's talk about it, because look.
I'm confused about that, because I actually have an amazing career. My career is, I think that's why I struggle with it so much, because I have an amazing career and I'm paid very well and I don't really dislike what I do. So I don't really understand why people are embarrassed to say like they have a job and they're a business owner. Yeah. And I also feel like I'm not a part-time business owner and full-time employee. I feel like I'm a full-time employee and a full-time business owner. You know what I mean? Because it's not something I just do on the side. This is a big business that I'm building with my own two hands. It's definitely not something that takes a little bit or just a part-time. Right. So it's like I'm doing two full-time things, if that makes sense. And I'm not embarrassed about any of it. So I feel weird that I've been hearing that a lot. Like, why? Like, why are people saying they're embarrassed?
I love both the things that you mentioned, because there was a young lady that was on the panel in our room. I believe it was Jalen. So shout out to Jalen. She actually said the same thing. She was like, look, I'm a full-time employee, but I'm a full-time entrepreneur too. Everything, I build somebody else's business, but I build mine too, full-time. But the embarrassment piece, when we had really tapped into that, we think it really stems from Instagram, from social media as a whole. Get all of these entrepreneurs, showcasing their life. But what you have to remember as the other person on the other side is that this is just Instagram. Like, people are showing us what they want us to see. Meanwhile, they could be on an air mattress with a Pocahontas blanket. Like, it's just, we don't really know.
Not a Pocahontas blanket. You play too much. I cannot.
We don't know what people is going through,
Right.
At the end of the day, I think
I want to interject a little bit on that, and I don't want to what's the word? I don't want to like make it seem like I'm trying to come down on the younger generation, because I have a daughter who's
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a part of the younger.
Oh my gosh, my daughter is 21, and I feel like a lot of the things that you were mentioning, I think the younger people struggle with that more. I think they're more tapped into and worried about what they see on Instagram. And us as older people, I'm 41. When I see it, I love let me back up. I love social media because I've seen like what it can do for business. You know, I've
Absolutely.
been an entrepreneur way before social media. And so to see what social media can do now
Yeah.
for I love that aspect of it. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, all this y'all doing, posting all it to me, you could tell it's like it's not real.
Yeah.
But then it bothers me and it kind of hurts me actually that I see a lot of our young people, because I'm a mother. I have a 21-year-old, I have a 12-year-old as well, and he's getting zoned into that too. They're so zoned into what they see
Yeah.
on social media, like they really think that that's reality, and that is
Yeah.
like,
My
oh
my
gosh, it's
mentor,
bothersome.
it is my mentor, Malcolm. So shout out to Malcolm. He probably ain't gonna listen to this, but that's okay. He calls Instagram cap culture. Like
Mhm.
people just be like,
Mhm.
you literally can post whatever you want. I mean, you can find a
Right.
picture on Pinterest and I mean, unless somebody like specifically knows what your hand looks like or your exact room looks like, you could act like you in all these places and you just copied and pasted a picture from Pinterest. But it's like, it is
I can't even fathom. I can't even believe people do that. That's the crazy part.
honestly, like I can't
Wow.
even really imagine it either, but I know for an absolute fact it's happening. And one thing I will
Mm.
say is I think it's affecting Black people even more because now
Mhm.
you have people thinking like, okay, I have to be an entrepreneur, or oh, I can't work a job and build a business, or oh, I
Mhm.
have to leave my job, but I'm only making like $500 in my business. If that, like, it just puts it from the wrong perspective. And so
Yep.
I think as those who are more experienced in entrepreneurship, those who are older, like we have a due diligence to let people know and be transparent. That was another point that had came up. People aren't being transparent. Like I talk
Mm.
about all day how like this
Mhm.
is a struggle. Like
Mhm.
was not no easy ride. Like the life I'm able to live today, like it didn't happen overnight. And
Yeah.
so there's been, people who have, followed me for the past 3 or 4 years and have seen me, from the very beginning. And so I think that's why people respect me, is because they've actually seen it. But if you're
Mhm.
just following somebody new and you're just seeing their life now and not, taking a look into what their life once was, you're gonna
Yeah.
now you thinking like, okay, you seeing them spending, 10K on this, 5K on that, but you weren't there
Mhm.
when they were up till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, working on their business, growing
Yeah.
into what it is. And that's what I think people are missing. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah,
think.
that's why I love to share so much. Sometimes I feel like I overshare because I share a lot because I want everybody to see the whole picture. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like I'm this, like I said, this is the best year I've ever had. And I'm 41. I've had a lot of horrible years. I've had businesses that failed. I had businesses that didn't make any money. You know,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of things happen. I think it's important to share the whole story. And then I want to also say, to your point, my daughter, like I said, is 21. She had a conversation with me about, someone making fun of her because her job was at Walmart. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, why is that a cap?
Right.
You have a job. And you have a pretty good job. Working in Walmart is a pretty good job for a college student. You're a college student,
Right.
mind you. So your focus right now, you're trying to get this degree. You're not trying, like
Right.
you're not trying to have like a Bentley. Like like they're focused on this stuff they see on Instagram, the celebrities are posting, and then all of a sudden working a job as a student as a cap.
Yeah.
Like, make that make sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and I think again, I think it's just one. I think it is the younger generation, and I think it's just it's oh man, the conversation could go so many ways because again, I think it
mm,
is something that is plaguing our community,
yeah.
and it's like we aren't showing the work. Like you're seeing
Hmm.
the after effects of the work, and that's what you're focused on. You're not
Hmm.
focused on everything that I did to now get what I have. You're only focused on what you see right now, and that's what people get caught up on. So it's like,
Hmm.
how are you going to make fun of somebody who has a job, who has an end goal though? Like she's pursuing a degree, she has goals, like, so I'm just,
Uh,
it's so, man, like, Lord, pray for me when I have a kid because the world gonna probably be way more confused when I
yeah.
finally have one. But like, what? That
Yeah.
don't make no sense. Like,
yeah, it doesn't. So as a parent, you just have to continue to I don't know, kind of try your best to counteract that, because they're consumed with it so much. It's like, and then they have their individual devices now, so it's like you have to try to monitor that, because they're being like, all this stuff is being ingested into their minds and their spirits constantly, and then you have to come in and try to, counteract that or cut back on it, or do, but then once they leave the house, like, my daughter's gone now, I don't have a way to monitor what she's consuming every day. So at this point now, it's on her to kind of monitor it, but it's a lot.
There's a saying that another mentor of mine says. He says, what entertains you trains you. And so I think it's just,
that's a word right there.
Yeah, I think it's just like, dang, we really have to make sure that we're tapping into all 5 senses, like, positively. What am I listening to? Like, what am I watching? Right? Like, what experiences am I taking place?
I tell my kids that every day.
Yeah, it's like, man, we have to be so mindful of the things that we watch and the things that we listen. Like, I don't partake in like any news. So like when things happen, like, I don't even know unless like I'm on Facebook and like everybody's talking about it. Like, anything bad happens,
Me
like
too.
I don't even know. So I'm like,
my husband like tries to get on my case about that, almost like a cap, like, because he'll send me news articles, and I'm like, dude, I don't know, because I can't. It's just too much. And he's like, you need to be informed.
Yeah.
What's going on? And I'm just like,
yeah, my dad,
I gotta do.
Like, he's always like, well, when in the morning you should at least check, the daily news. And I'm like, I don't check any of that, because here's what I believe. I make my own economy, and I make my own reality. So like, whatever y'all going through, I'm not going through it. Like, I create my own little bubble. And so I think it comes from like discipline with your mind. So just like mental toughness, and knowing like, okay, look, like, I'm not going to watch that, because I know it's going to start affecting me. Like, subconsciously, it's going to affect you. So like,
I agree.
I don't watch reality TV a lot. There's certain shows that I will tap into, little, but most of them I'm like, no, because I don't want to engage in that, And
I had to let it go. I was kind of bad at that for a while. I was finding myself watching reality TV and just stuff that, and this was before I started my newest business. And I found, like, I just had a conversation with myself, like, dang, I'm spending all this time watching TV and watching stuff. Like, what else could I be doing with this time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I don't even have time to watch TV at all. I can't even tell you last time I even watched TV. So, you can shift that. Definitely.
And I think that's it. I think it's just a shift. It's just a shift. You got to just take a mental, an inventory of your time. Like, I challenge y'all, whoever listening, I challenge you, couple days, 72 hours, like, really focus in on like, where am I spending my time? Because at the end of the day, at the end of the 72 hours, you'll tally them up. How much time was actually wasted? Like, okay, cool. 30 minutes takes me to go to the job. I'm working, 8 to 5. But like, what are you doing in between that? Because see, when you have them dead hours at your job where you're just mindlessly scrolling on Instagram, if you could be mindlessly scrolling on Instagram, you could be doing something in regards to your business as well. Like, if you're going to be, doing nothing on your phone because you got free time at your job, you could be doing something productive that's going to put you a step ahead. So,
and I think to see it also is a game changer. The I don't know what you call it exactly, but the update they did on the iPhone was a game changer for the screen time. Yeah, that was a game changer to me, because to actually see the numbers, that made me kind of wake up a little bit. I was like, is this right? I thought it was wrong. Like, what? I spent this much hour. So I think what you're saying is a great point, like to be able to see it tangibly. Because I think we be like in a zone, and you're not even consciously knowing how much of the time of your day that you spent on something, just like mind numbing. So that when I see that on my screen now, that put a lot in perspective for me. I was like, oh no, we about to make some changes, because this is ridiculous. Like,
I think it's even more so like subconsciously. So I
Yeah.
will say this, like what I'm on social media all the time because I've been able to monetize it. So
Yep.
sometimes, now I ain't gonna lie, I do be aimlessly scrolling sometimes, but
Hmm.
most of the time I'm on with purpose. But
Right.
there was a time before I was actually monetizing it where I'm like, man, I really have to, try to make monitor how much time I'm on social media. And so
Yeah.
I will try to go on a social media cleanse. And when I did
Hmm.
that, I found that it's such in our brain that
Hmm.
I'm almost addicted to just opening the app. Like,
Hmm.
not even
Hmm.
doing anything on the app. I'm not engaging with
Hmm.
nobody. I'm not talking
Hmm.
to nobody. I'm not liking nothing. It's just like opening the app is like,
Girl, we preaching to the choir. I think that's happening to everybody.
I'm like, from
Hmm.
Instagram to Facebook to, it used to be Snapchat. Now what? TikTok. Like, it's all these things. And I'm like, I need to go read a book. Like, I need to go.
Yeah. I got to the point where I said I'm not engaging in any more social media accounts because I see also like there's so many new ones keep popping up. And it's like, so at what point this is becoming maddening? So I stopped
Yeah.
with like Snapchat. Like when Snapchat came out, I said, there's no way. I'm not downloading. I'm not getting involved. TikTok, I have none of that. At this
Yeah.
point, I have Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter I barely use, but I still have it. I think some of my posts just automatically, it's connected, it automatically
Uh-huh.
updates there. But I refuse. I'm not signing up for any more social media accounts. I'm just not. And
Yeah.
I'm on YouTube now too. There's no way. But when I did
Yeah.
see the hours what I was spending, that did also drive me to figure out how to monetize it, because I
Yeah.
said, you know what, I do like social media as a platform for me to share. It's helped me to, it's helped my
Yeah.
business grow. So how can I make more money off of it? If I'm gonna spend the time there, I'm gonna make some more money off of it.
Absolutely.
So
And
yeah.
that's a great point. And I'm really glad you brought that up because I think some people will try to keep up with every new thing out there. And I'm like, at this point now, it's almost like overwhelming. Like,
It is.
it's
Yeah.
like, as a business owner, it's great you got to be able to pivot. You got to be able to be creative. But
Mm-hmm.
then it's just like, dang, when is it going to stop? Because for somebody who's like, I engage with people, I network with
Mm-hmm.
people every day. And I'm like, dang, once I mastered one platform, now y'all
Yeah.
done brought out another one. And so
Right.
I'm like, this is just a lot. Like, I still
Yeah.
haven't tapped into TikTok, but I'm like, so
Yeah.
many people, are profiting off of TikTok. But I'm like, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
even done it yet because
I think it
like, ugh.
stops when you say it stops.
Yeah.
That's a decision I made because like you said, once I mastered something, like, and it's working for you,
Yeah.
like, keep putting into that.
Right.
Like, to try to jump over to something new and
Right.
learn, and even I'll say this, even new like upgrades or updates that they put in, like Instagram has this new reel thing. I'm like, dude,
Yeah, it's like TikTok.
I can't. I'm not gonna be able to do it. So like I'm just at this point sticking to what's worked for me,
Yeah.
what I've already mastered, and then I'm trying to even improve upon it more,
Yeah.
right? And I can't. And if it's working, it's working.
Yeah.
I don't know. I almost feel like it's a trap. Like all this news, it's like it's too
It's a
much.
big distraction because at the end of the day, I will say this, like, I have mastered I've mastered like creating engagement on Facebook, and what you water grows. And
Yep.
so if you're, tapping into Instagram, if you're tapping into Facebook, like if you're truly engaging, if you're truly connecting, if you're commenting and writing and talking to these people, your account is going to grow. Your engagement is going to increase. More eyes, more exposure is going to be brought your way. But it's like,
Right.
it's almost like diversifying too much because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, let me just focus on growing one. So like even
Yeah.
in 2020, I had already mastered like Instagram. Like
Hmm.
Instagram, I built most of my business off of Instagram. But I'm like, you know what? This pandemic hit, we all bored. Let me tap into Facebook. I
Hmm.
never really tapped into Facebook on my business. And then all of 2020, I was able to kind of master Facebook. And so
Hmm.
I'm like, now I got two of those, but like Instagram kind of be slacking a little bit. So I'm like, I don't know how anybody can manage more than 2, because I'm
Me
like, look,
neither. I don't know. I know that there is some people that have other people manage their accounts
yeah,
for them or stuff
I
like that.
manage my own. I'm like,
Me too.
yeah,
You know, even like here's the thing too. I haven't even really gotten to like the automatic I know people do like automatic post or something like that. I
oh
haven't
yeah, I
even
still
really
haven't
gotten
done
to
that
that.
either.
Like I'm literally doing and uploading my own posts
Yeah,
whenever I want to. Like I
yeah,
don't have them on a timer or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know. That's just me.
It might be something that I tap into this year, but
Mhm.
honestly, I don't know, because I mean, what I will say is I'm proactive with my content. So
Mhm.
I do I'll spend Sundays just creating content for like the week
Yeah.
or so. And
Yeah.
that's good for me. I have an
Yeah.
app, one app that I do recommend, that I really really love. It's called Preview. And so what it does is you're able to see what your Instagram will look like when you post your content before you
Okay.
actually post it. And
Okay.
so I'll just like put photos in there, I'll put videos in there, and I'll kind of just maneuver about when
Yeah.
I want to post it. And then I just post it manually though.
Mhm.
And that works for me now. I don't know. I mean, I might tap into the automation eventually, because I mean, then
Mhm.
that's just another thing that I don't have to deal with. But
Right.
I don't know. It's a lot.
I do the same thing. Sunday is my content creation day,
Yeah,
and that's it. It's one day a week,
yeah,
and that's sustainable for me.
same,
You know what I mean?
same.
And it's working. My uh, social media accounts are continuing to grow. My YouTube channel is continuing to grow. I'm almost at like 5,000 subscribers.
Nice.
So everything is climbing.
Right.
So it's working. I'm not gonna really change anything unless I have to. You know. You
Again, you
know.
gotta do what works. And it's
Mhm.
like I said, I think all the new apps is for like the younger people anyway, because they're the
Mhm.
ones who are like
Well,
really,
I think the people that are behind it see that they can make money off of it. It's an opportunity. If I were them, I would be doing the same thing.
yeah,
It's a business.
yeah,
They're like, oh shoot, this is a gold mine, and people,
literally.
especially the younger people, are going to tap into it. They're going to get into it. I see um Clubhouse. I looked into it a little bit and I see the kind of anticipation and the like exclusiveness they're trying to
Girl,
build up.
it's
That's getting people more
it's
amped up
ridiculous
to want
at
to
this
be a
point.
part of it. You know what I mean?
Because I mean, it's gotten bad. I mean, people out here selling Clubhouse invites, like people over
See,
here
that's what I'm talking about.
acting
There,
like
you
they
think
want
the
to.
people behind that are not doing that purposely? That's a genius marketing strategy. They're
Yeah,
doing that on purpose, and everybody's falling for it. I'm
it's a
like,
mess. Like I'm just like
y'all falling for this?
I was like, I'm
I'm
like,
like,
look,
I'm cool. I don't want to be a part of nothing
invite.
that bad.
I seen somebody selling a Clubhouse invite for $50, and I was like,
Shut up,
you cannot be serious.
girl. I
And
need to get in on that then.
I'm like, you know what? One, in my personal opinion, I think it's
Mhm.
distasteful, and I think it's
Mhm.
like that's just bad karma. Like,
Right.
why am I going to charge $50 for something that I got for free? And
Because people will buy it.
yeah,
That's the crazy part. People are so enthralled with this,
yeah,
idea of like, let me be a part of something that's exclusive, or I think,
yeah.
like I said, the people behind this app are probably driving that whole. They're driving that. I think, you know what I mean, because
Here's
that
what
makes
gets
it
me though.
more.
Here's what gets me though, is people want to be a part of it so bad, but it's
Mhm.
the people that like. It's like, do you even know? Like, what are you gonna do when you're on Clubhouse? Are you
Yeah.
gonna add value to the conversation? Like, do you
No.
plan on
People just want to be a part of
like, do
something.
you plan on,
No.
networking and connecting? Because it's like, how do you go
Mhm.
from not even knowing what it is, but you're willing to pay $50 for an invite? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, when I seen what Clubhouse was,
Girl.
I was like, man, this is something I could really tap into for my business.
Mhm.
This is
Mhm.
something I can actually learn from. So like, I went in and I was like, okay, cool. This is something I
Yeah.
can use. You can't
Yeah.
go
See,
in.
I think a lot of people just want quick fix. Everybody's trying to find an instant fix to something.
There
And I
is no
find
instant
that,
fix.
I find that a lot in my business. The loan signing system, which I mentioned earlier, that I advocate for all day, every day, because it's just an amazing system. It's something that you have to invest in, but then you have to immerse yourself in the content in order to learn from it. And what I'm seeing people do is they're investing in the course, and then they're seeing all the coursework that they have to go through, and they're not going through it all.
Yeah.
And they're trying to go through bits and pieces of it, and then they'll come on my Instagram page or my YouTube page and ask me questions, and based on the questions they're asking me, these questions are in the course.
Girl,
So if
preach.
you immerse yourself in the course, you wouldn't be asking me these questions. So that lets me know, okay, so you just want something real quick.
Yeah.
And I think most people want something real quick. They want it real quick. And it's like, yeah, my business is doing great. I'm making a shitload of money, but I spent a lot of time learning, and I'm still learning.
We literally in the same boat. Like with me. Okay, cool. I'm in the Forex realm. We got our educational platform. Same thing. Investments made. They don't even tap into the education, but then they want to ask all these basic questions that are literally in the coursework, and then 30 days later, 60 days later, oh, this doesn't work. You haven't even watched 3 videos yet.
Right.
Like,
Hello.
3. Like, there's 60 and you haven't watched 3. So like you haven't even watched 1% of the videos that you need to watch, but you want to come back to me talking about
you
this.
better preach.
No, you don't work. Like, let's not get
you better that's what I'm saying. Girl, I have the same issues in my world. Same thing. I used to be up late at night watching videos. I was to get through everything in that course, you know. So I'm like, for people to say, I have the same thing on me. If people say like, oh, that course doesn't work, or you got people saying, oh, it's a scam, or he's just a salesman, and I'm just like, you guys are tripping. The course works. I worked it. I'm living proof.
Yeah.
And you're not implementing.
Yes.
You're not implementing.
Big it just goes back to dang, I think I lost my train of thought. But yes, exactly. Like people just I know what I was about to say. It's like what people want what you have, but they aren't willing to do what you did. Okay, cool. I worked 12 hours a day, came home, spent 3 hours, watching these videos. You over here, you won't even spend an hour. Like you can't tell me that you want to be where I am when you're not willing to do what I did. Like,
yeah,
you can't.
And the cold part about that is most people don't want to put in the work.
They don't.
So I think that's why you're going to always continuously see a smaller percent of us that are really, really successful, because the average person does not want to do what it takes.
Yeah, that is a fact. Because like I said, even when I've been connecting with people who are like, oh, notary is, an untapped market.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be transparent with people and say, look, not only is there an investment, but you are going to have to learn something. Like, that's why I'm transparent with everybody.
That's my whole, most of my content every day. I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over because I'm getting the same questions over and over. It's like, you have to put in the work. Yeah, this works. Yeah, this is working for me.
Yeah.
But you got to put in the work, and then you have to continue to put in work. I'm still now in a second level part of the course, which is called the next level course, because I'm trying to take my business to the next level. So now I'm immersing myself again.
Here's my thing. Same thing. How am I going on my 4th year, 3 years in? I'm still utilizing the education. I'm still learning. How is it that I'm like 4 years in, still learning, but you 3 weeks in and you feel like you don't need to tap into anything that the program is offering? Like, you got to make that make sense. Like, what? I have the results. I'm utilizing the education, but you over here like, oh my God, this doesn't work, but you ain't even gotten through video 10. Like,
right.
No.
So here's the thing with that, the conclusion I've come to, because when I first started my business, that used to like really, 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 really bother me. And it still does, but I just react to it different, So now I'm more like, you know what? I don't want to put any energy into anyone now who I just keep on I just keep on moving. Like, but before, early on, I was like really bothered by it, and I was talking about it a lot, and I was just like, I don't really understand what the heck. But at this point, it's like, okay, it's not for me to understand, and I'm just going to keep moving. And I would say 1 out of 10 people I might talk to, one maybe out of those 10 people might be like, okay, this person is serious. This person is ready to put in the work. The other 9, they playing.
Yeah, literally.
So it's like, bye, you know.
Literally. And that, honestly, that point right there was the biggest hurdle that I had to come over mentally with me and my business, because I took personal offense to it. Like, because I take it as like, look, your success is my own. Like, I want you to succeed. I want you to do well. I want you to make money, but it's like, I also can't force you to do the work. So now it's like,
so yeah,
because it's like, you want to say that it doesn't work, but you're not working. So it's like, ew.
So the reason why, to your point also, I feel like I was taking it so seriously, so personally, like you said you were, because I was taking it very personal as well. And my husband was like, you need to stop taking it so personal. But the reason why I was taking it so personally, because when I decided to start this business in 2019, one of the things that I had written down was that I was starting this business to be able to help other people. Uplift them and to help them become more financially stable. That was one of my goals. So I'm talking about people in my family, friends that I know, you know, young people that are lost and maybe just looking for an avenue. That was one of my main reasons for me starting this business, not just for myself, but for others. So I was taking it super personal when I'm start sharing this and trying to, you know, people hitting me saying that they're interested, and I'm taking the time, a lot of my time, actually, to help cultivate them, and then they're not taking the they're not doing anything with it. I was getting pissed. I was pissed. And so part of that too, that's why I have now kind of a program that I implemented. There are one-on-one Zoom calls now that I use for coaching that I've attached a price to, because I was just giving all this free, like my time. Really, that's what was getting me. I was putting in a lot of time, preparing information for people, sharing it, giving them, meeting with them so they can be successful. And then I've spent all this time putting everything together, and I'm giving it to you, and you do nothing with it. Girl, I said, you know what? So now what y'all gonna have to do is y'all gonna have to book an appointment that's gonna cost you some money. And then now I know you're serious, you know, because you're investing. And, you know, some people, you know, pay for it. Some people, once they see it's a price attached, they keep moving. That's fine. Because I was just getting too pissed about it.
It's a lot. And I think, honestly, this is a conversation that we could have all day. Like, it just, you know, it comes down to so many factors. The mindset, the microwave theory, everybody just wanting things to be ready now, not putting in, you know, any work attached to it. And I'll say this, you know, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And I think that that's one thing that, you know, unpopular belief that we just got to let people know, like, hey, it can be for everybody, but you got to do the mental work that you have to do to get to where you could do so. Because I'm like, not everybody's built for it. Like, this entrepreneurship journey, it's a jungle.
Well, here's the thing. I've came to the conclusion with your first statement, it's just not for everybody. Some people are just really, really, really good employees. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not for everybody, because that thing that you're talking about, I don't know if it can be taught.
You think some people got it and some people don't?
Yeah. You know what I mean? So if it was for everybody, then I think that thing that you're referring to could be taught. And I just don't, I think there's something in some of us that can't be taught.
I'll take that.
I just think it's a thing, you know.
I think everything. Now, I think it's like environment, like, you know, the right mentorship, the right people around you, because there are some people, you know, where you see something in somebody, like there's some type of hunger, like they might not have all the tools, but if you give them the right tools, you place them in the right environment, they can take it and they can run with it. But I think you're right. Some people, they don't have the initiative, like they don't have, you know, that self-motivation, and it's just like, I'm like, look, I've just been.
And I think also too, entrepreneurs have this thing where, like, we go against the grain. Like, we're not, like, I still have a job to this day, but I just don't fit in well in a traditional work environment. Like, I'm not gonna go along with just to get along.
Yeah.
I'm always going to, like, I'm a nonconformist. So a traditional work environment is just not, it's not really built for somebody like me who likes to kind of go against the grain.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I've always struggled with that. I've always struggled with that. Not in a sense, like, you know, I've always pretty much had good jobs, so to speak. And I never was like, I don't get fired, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But it's just always been a struggle for me to
Same.
just be in the same place at the same time every day for the same
Same.
amount of hours doing the same thing. I was just like, no, I got too many other things that I
Like,
want to
go
accomplish.
mad. You and I
Right.
and I feel the exact same way. Like, you know, I excelled, and, you know, every job that I have, I wasn't, you know, bad at what I did or anything like that. But I was just like, yo, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for me. And it was like, you know, obviously nothing against anybody that I work with. I love the people that I work with. Like, jobs were typically easy, but I'm like, yo, this right here, it ain't for me. I don't like being.
But I know a lot of people who are an amazing employees, and they just won't, they can't see it any other way.
Yeah.
They're the complete opposite. You know what I mean? Like, my husband will tell you in a minute, he's an executive. He does amazingly well in his career, but he'll tell you, like, I don't have an entrepreneurial bone in my body. Like, I just don't. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so I don't know. I don't really think it's for everybody. I really don't.
That you brought that up, that your husband's an executive, because I was just reading a book by Robert Kiyosaki, Business of the 21st Century, and he talks about network marketing and all these things, and he was really tapping into the cash flow quadrant. That's basically, I don't know if you read his first book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I did. Yeah, I love him.
You know, the business, employee, self-employed, investor. He said he breaks it down even further and said it's not just so much the job you're doing, it's a mindset. And I was like mind blown by that. And so he broke down like each category and the things that they value, like their core values. And so somebody who is self-employed, they value security. You know, they value, you know, am I going to get paid overtime? You know, things of that nature. And so he said, even those individuals that make, you know, over six figures, you know, in these large companies, at the end of the day, they're just a they're a high paid employee. They still value, you know, they still value security. They still value, you know, like getting paid for holidays. They value, just being planted somewhere. And that right there, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, you know, they making 6-7 figures, but they're still working for somebody else because their core values is what drives them. Like, something like me, like, you know, when you're talking about like the business and the investors are like all about return on investment. Like, what is my money doing? How can I make more money? And then, you know, the business owner is more so like just creating wealth, like freedom, systems, things of that nature. And I was just like, wow, that was just so interesting. I was like,
and I also want to add to that the conclusion I came to after working for, I don't know how many years that I've worked and getting a paycheck from a job, I came to the conclusion, like, there's no wealth to be built with that. Like, you can't build any type of generational wealth with a job, even a well-paying job. Like I said, my husband is paid extremely well. But I don't know. I don't think it's possible.
I don't think so either. And I think that you have to educate yourself on financial literacy and the way the world works. Because at the end of the day, every single person needs a business. It doesn't matter what the business is. I literally don't care. But you need some type of business, because what people don't understand is the rich stay rich by tax benefits. Like, there's credit, being able to utilize credit properly. Like, there's so many different ways that people aren't understanding that, like, it just goes.
We have this conversation almost every day. My husband pays so much in taxes, and it's just like, dude, you need a business. You need and then all the write-offs that we get.
Man, it's like people don't understand. Like, my whole life is like a write-off. Like, I can literally write off everything, because everything that I'm doing is is making movement into my business. The clothes
Hello.
my nails getting done, my hair getting done, the gas in my car, the payment of my car, like everything is a write.
Everything.
Like
Yep.
everything is a write-off. Like
Yep.
that's why I'm not like, people just don't understand. Like you have to figure out how to decrease your taxable income. And I'm so
Yeah.
passionate about this. Like I just could talk about this all day because
Yeah.
people think that, especially with I'm in network marketing. Oh, you just want to recruit me, you just want to do this. No, I'm actually really passionate about educating people. Like, look, I don't care if you work with me or somebody else, but you need a home-based business. Like if
Yeah.
you aren't selling something that or making something or figuring something out, you need a business.
Yeah.
E-commerce, we're teaching people how to build online stores. You need to be doing
Yeah.
something,
I
anything,
agree.
like
I agree.
anything. And then
I
I
agree.
want to move the conversation because I remember the first time I connected with you, I was just so inspired and intrigued by how you really educate your children on wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted you to kind of tap in a little bit of some of the things that you taught your kids at an early age. Because I know that there can be some parents listening that are going to be able to take heed to that, because even
Mm-hmm.
with no kids, I was really inspired about some of the things that you do.
Mm-hmm. So I think for me, one of the number one things is trying to make sure my kids understand the importance of credit,
Mm-hmm.
how it works, why it's important. So one of our number one kind of, I don't want to say tricks, but things that we implement with the kids, and I've shared with tons of other parents, is that we put all the kids as authorized users on our credit cards, and like say, nothing will show up until they turn 18, but once my daughter turned 18, her credit score was over 700 just by being on my credit line,
Yeah.
and then you have to take the time to explain to them, especially in the way that they understand it's age appropriate, like why that's important and the power that kind of comes with that, and then also how to sustain it. You know what I mean? And so that component is really important to us. The other component is really important to
What's
us
the age
is
limit on that? Do you know?
there is no age
Because
limit.
I've heard, like, basically when a baby is born, can you like put it
Yeah.
on your credit?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that was an
Yeah.
important part. I was like, dang. So
There's no age
yeah,
limit, but
that's
nothing's going to show until they
right.
turn 18.
But
But
then
then when
they
they turn
have
18,
18
it's going to
years
show that they have
of
like
credit.
all these years history of
Yeah.
credit, right? And I didn't even learn about this until my daughter was like in junior high, maybe starting high school. So hers only showed maybe 4 or 5 years. But
Yeah.
with the boys, I have a 12-year-old and a 4-year-old. Like our 4-year-old, my husband did it when we had him. You know what I mean? And the same with my 12-year-old. So and then my husband is really good too, working with my 12-year-old and sitting him down and showing him like the bank statements and having him save a certain amount of his money and they go and deposit it into the bank, and he's
That's good.
teaching him how to save a certain percentage. Like my husband is really, really good with that. He like maxes out his 401ks and his 457s at work. Like he's a great saver. So he's taking the time to show the boys. My 4-year-old still, and not really all that understanding that well, but we still have him like go and put up, he might get $5, from his grandmother, go put it in his room to save, or
Yeah.
my son is very clear on saving a portion of the money that he earns. I've recently hired him as my assistant.
I love it.
And he is my assistant in my notary business. So he does things for me. Like he goes and drops my packages off at UPS or FedEx. He'll, like break down, if I have inventory coming in, he's breaking down my boxes. He's keeping track of my inventory for my t-shirt line. Thank you again for supporting
Girl, I
my
love it so
t-shirt
much.
line. Yeah, but he keeps inventory for me. He like will prep and mail out packages. I'm just trying to show him different components of the business. And then of course he earns a salary, and
Right.
then, we make sure that he saves a certain portion of that, so those are just kind of things we implement. The other thing that we're big on, and we're trying to find a balance with this, is that, instead of, I'll tell you this, the crazy part about this, we have college funds for both the boys. And we always ask every year, like instead of buying them a gift, contribute to their college fund. It's even so easy now. There's a link. We're with T. Rowe Price for their college funds. There's a link that we could send out, like my brother's who are uncles or grandparents, they're always asking what the boys want. We'll send them a link. Hey, just deposit money into their college account, right? We prefer that over all the gifts, right? Do you know people will still buy the kids gifts and not put the money in the, it's just like,
I can
okay, like I can't, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's just us, our people, I don't know, but we want to try to just push that message more. Like, the kids don't need it. If you see all the crap they have over here and then they don't use most of it that you buy for them or what, they don't need it. Like, here, you can just deposit money into their college account, so those are the kind of things that are important to us and we try to implement. And also I want to point out to teaching them, because I've come to the conclusion and I'm trying to be more I guess aware that maybe like a 4-year traditional college isn't for everybody. So although we have the college fund for the boys, we also kind of talk to them about possibly other options that we might be open to. Like, if they don't decide to go to a 4-year college, the money is going to be there, but I don't know. Do you want to start a business? Do you have a business plan? Do you have something you can bring to us that you would like to use the money for instead of, a traditional college? Because we don't want to go into debt, send the kids to college. So that's the purpose of the college fund. But then the other side of that is, the more that I get to know my kids on an individual level, the more that I'm learning about them and who they are. And they're not all the same. Like, my daughter is at a traditional 4-year college. That's what she wants to do. My 12-year-old, I'm seeing things in him that I'm like, I don't know if that's going to be his same track. You know what I mean? But then we got this college fund for him. So what are we going to do with this money if he doesn't go to a traditional college, So these are the conversations that my husband and I have with each other and with the kids. My husband is a UC Berkeley graduate, so he's more so like, he really believes in traditional college track. Like, he's not as, I want to say, kind of open-minded with it than I am, but he's becoming more open to the possibility, like, oh, well, shoot, maybe they won't. Like, his dream is like, I want my boys to go to Berkeley like I did. But I'm like, that may not be what
but
is going to happen.
I want to I want to hit that, like, I want to rewind that back, because I think that is so important. You tapped on two really big things that I just got to repeat. Number one, knowing your kids, like, knowing, I remember when we had that first conversation and you were like, yeah, he is, and you have to nurture where they're at, like, nurture the things that they have an interest in. And you might be seeing now, like, hey, college might not be for him, but I'm going to show him how to run this business. I'm going to show him how to do these things. And I think that is so important, because I think as a lot of parents, at least, the older generation parents, like, they just pushed one narrative, like, you're going to school, you're gotta get good grades, you're gonna get this job. And it's like, now we're seeing that isn't the most effective route for everybody. And so I think that is so important, that you do that. And then number two, now I'm not fully educated on this because I don't have no kids, and if I did, I would know everything. But you paying him a salary is such a win-win, because it's a win-win for you as the business owner, because you can write off, like, I think that as a kid, they've been making like little TikTok videos on this. I think you can, they can earn like $12,000, and so that's like, under for them to be taxed on at a young age. And then number two, that's $12,000. That's a write-off for you. And I mean, it's like y'all all in the same family. So it's just a win-win. And I'm just like, why aren't people doing this? Like, it just doesn't.
Well, here's the thing. That's why I'm such a big advocate on sharing knowledge, because I think just people don't know. Like, knowledge is power. Like, I know that that's a very kind of cliche statement, but it's so true. Like, I just learned about hiring your kids from, like, I forgot the lady's name, but she's like into financial literacy, and I was watching some of her videos, I think on Instagram, and she started talking, I'm like, wait a minute, let me look into this. So, like, I didn't even know that until this year. And I'm like, okay, you guys are going to start being some employees over here then. I mean, because I already had him doing things because I want him to learn about the business, because back to one of my earlier points is I started this because I want my kids to have other options, you
Right.
know. But then when I learned like, oh, like the tax benefits and things like, I didn't know. And if
Yeah.
I didn't know, I know other people don't know.
Right.
You understand?
And I
So
think that's why when there's people like me, people like you in these different financial realms and advocates of generational wealth and, you know, multiple streams of income, it's like we almost have a due diligence to
yeah,
educate those around us, especially since, like you said, most people just don't know. Like
yeah,
they just do not know. And
yeah.
it's one of those things where it's obviously as a community in whole, we've had a lot of obvious disadvantages, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
we have to start, we just have to start taking responsibility. It's
Mm-hmm.
like we got to get out of the victim, you know, mindset and be like, look, obviously all these bad things have happened to us, all these disadvantages, you know, we had the short end of the stick, but it's like there's so much knowledge out there. There's so many different opportunities out there for us to make money. It's like we
Mm-hmm.
got to just step out of that victim mindset and
Mm-hmm.
and run with it. Like as simple as
I
that.
agree.
As simple
I
as
agree. I agree.
yeah. And so it's like we that's why I'm so big on just educating people about this because like you said, most people just really, you know, don't know.
They don't know, you know, and I think our parents and their parents, same thing. They were just teaching us
Yeah.
what they knew, you know, going back to that, the concept of like, you know, your parents just telling you go to college, get an education, and
Yeah.
you know, that's how I was raised. But that's because like that's what my parents knew to
Yep.
be like an avenue. Like in my grandparents, you know, coming from like rural country, uh, in the South in Louisiana, like they all they knew in their mind was education could give you another
Yep.
other avenues. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? So they're just telling you what
No.
they knew. Now our world is open to all this knowledge, you know,
So
because we
much
can
knowledge.
find stuff so easily now on the internet. You know, they didn't
Yeah.
have all that information. So with all this information, we got to do something with it.
We
You know.
absolutely do. And I think it's just so important that we continue to educate one another, uplift one another,
Mm-hmm.
and really just have, you know, not that crabs in a bucket mentality. I think a lot of us
Mm-hmm.
have, you know, removed ourselves from that, but obviously it's still there in some instances.
Mm-hmm.
So I just
Mm-hmm.
encourage you, if you are somebody who is an expert in your particular field, to continue to educate those around you, because it's like we're not going to win as a whole until we start winning individually. So it's like
Yeah.
you gotta, it's each one teach one, whatever that saying,
Yeah.
reach one teach one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really what
I
we
agree.
gotta continue to do. Now
Mm-hmm.
one thing I did want to tap in, all your contact information is going to be at the end of this, but if somebody wanted more information on getting into notary, can they
Mm-hmm.
reach out to you, or where should they go, or where should they start?
Yeah, for sure. So, if anybody wants more information on how to become a notary or specifically a notary loan signing agent, definitely reach out to me via email, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I'll give you all my contacts, but you could
Absolutely.
definitely reach out to me. And I kind of forgot to add that this year I want to start building a team of notaries. So I've been
Okay.
putting that out on my social medias. Anybody who's interested, please contact me if you're in the Sacramento or surrounding areas, because I want to start with a small team here, and then that will eventually expand into like a nationwide signing service, and
Okay.
that's just like a database where notaries can find work. But I'll be starting here locally. So yeah,
I
if
love it.
anybody's here in the Sacramento surrounding areas, if you're already a notary or you're interested in becoming a notary, please contact me, because again, I will be building a team here.
I love it. I love it. Now, as
Mhm.
we head out, is there any final words that you have for the people?
Final words, just do it like Nike, you know, no excuses. I hate excuses. I left all excuses behind like
Yeah.
mid 2020, 2021. We definitely know
Yeah.
not having no excuses. Just do it. Whatever you're thinking about, contemplating, been thinking about, just do it. Take a
Yeah.
chance on yourself. Just do it. Please let go of excuses. Excuses are for losers, okay?
Amen. I love
That's it.
I
That's it.
love it. Well, I definitely appreciate you for hopping on here with me. I think this was
Mm-hmm.
one heck of a conversation. So I know
Yeah.
some people are gonna find lots of value into it. Again, I'm gonna have all your contact information at the end of this, and so
Yeah.
I will see you next time.
All right. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye, girl.
Bye.